You must save your sister trapped inside the rumbling stomach of a vicious dungeon dragon, but we'll have to go down 5 levels of hell and fight off dozens of unknown monsters without any food, money, or food. Each day you wait, your sister gets closer to being digested by burning stomach acid, and the only way to win will be by opening your hole and eating every piece of luncheon meat monster you see. If you watch till the end, I'll show you how to beat the throbbing meat monsters in Delicious Dungeon. This guy here is about to deep throat all kinds of monster meat. This group here fights for their lives against the boss of this dungeon, the Red Dragon, but Laios spots his sister getting eaten alive right in front of him, while she saves the rest of the team and magically transports them back to the surface. Waking up safe and sound, 2 other teammates named Marcial and Chilchuk link back up with Laios. Dragons take time to digest their food, which means there's still a chance his sister can be saved, but out of money, food, and extra teammates to help, they don't know how they'll reach the 5th floor of the dungeon alive. Laios comes up with a crazy idea and says that the dungeon itself is a self-sustaining ecosystem where animals and monsters survive by feeding on each other and thinks they can feed on them too. And this will allow them to enter the dungeon immediately without any food or extra heavy cargo because his sister's life depends on it. Marcial thinks this is a terrible idea and they'll die of food poisoning, but no pain, no gain, as Laios says, taking out this dungeon gourmet guidebook. This tells them what are all the monsters they can eat and how to cook it. But these two think Laios is a little too into eating weird things. He quickly tests out his cooking skills to prove a point, but nearly dies of food poisoning before the story even begins. Another adventure nearby suddenly interrupts them and shows them how to cook a monster meal. Cooking this 5-star meal to the gang, and it's full of flavor and it is delicious. Shocking everyone, especially Laios, who's amazed someone else loves dungeon food as much as him. He introduces himself as Senshi, but Laios says most of their old team has abandoned them, and they're looking for new members to go after the Red Dragon. And this guy's super excited to cook dragon meat as much as Laios. Oh, and find the sister, that too. And he decides to join them. Heading into the 2nd floor of the dungeon, they set up camp. Laios warns them about all the monsters they're about to come across. Big bats, giant rats, forest goblins, living armor, and potentially eat them. Marcial gets sick at the thought of eating dungeon food, but spots some plants instead. She tries to collect some by using a simple spell, but they catch her off guard and go apeshit on her. Freaking out, Laios quickly reacts by slicing the plant at its root and gives it to Senshi to cook, creating their first epic dungeon meal, plant tarts. After, Marcial tries some and actually likes it. Watching her carefully, Laios lets out a single tear of joy, but she tells him to relax. The next day, the group wake up to the smell of human breakfast by another nearby group of adventurers, making Senshi realize they need to hunt for fat to fuel their bodies for today's upcoming adventure, and decides they will hunt for some eggs belonging to a basilisk. Known as the King of Snakes, Laios gets super excited to eat it, and the gang tracks it down to its nest, coming across its eggs with no mother in sight. But that's when they hear a piercing scream just as another group of adventurers lead the basilisk right to them, looking pissed as hell. Okay, this group did everything wrong the moment they didn't have anyone on birdwatch duty, but I would have easily been this reptile KFC wannabe using only the weakness that both of these animals actually have. While this creature looks scary, it's really just a bird with a batter bite. Caught off guard at this moment, I would have used Marcial to lure the chicken out to the exit here, staying as close to the wall here as possible. This move would instantly restrict the creature's peripheral vision, while sending one of our guys like Senshi to wait at the exit point from the other side, waiting for the moment Marcial passed through here. This would have allowed Senshi to get in a clean shot at guillotining this mofo's head clean off, preferably the snake head due to its venom teeth, duh. If that didn't work, realistically, we still could have coordinated with our team, targeting this monster's sensitivity to light. Chickens, in general, if you didn't know, are more sensitive to humans to detect changes in light intensity, whereas snake eyes generally have specialized eyes that are adapted to more low light conditions, which would have also made them sensitive to light as well. This means, while distracting the basilisks with Chilchuk or Senshi, as Laios, I would signal Marcial to cast a spell consisting of bright light to throw off both heads of the basilisk, temporarily blinding it while we take it down with ease and get ourselves this fine-ass Kentucky-style scaled meal. Skadoosh, how to beat anime for the win. Okay, so Marcial freaks out and gets chased by the KFC monster. Laios comes in and screams at the top of his lungs, distracting it while Senshi comes up from behind and the two tag team it. After, they heal the survivors, but Senshi says medicine is best taken with food and cooks up another meal while Marcial finds another dish she likes. Laios updates his crew after each meal. The red dragon goes into hibernation for a month. During this time, his digestion will be slowed down, and means his sister has a chance to survive the longer it sleeps. They rush to find a shortcut to the 3rd level, but realize Marcel sucks balls at traveling, forcing the group to find a less dangerous and slower route. Chilchuk suggests a secret tunnel he knows with less monsters but more traps. The longer journey makes Senshi think they need to stock up on food. They have meat, but they need vegetables, guiding them to a spot where mandrake plants grow. Marcel desperately tries to show that she's not useless and says she's learned about mandrakes in her magic theory classes and knows how to get one, since they release a lethal scream once you pull them out. She says they should tie the plant to an innocent dog they find and force it to run in the opposite direction, letting the dog pull out the plant for them. But the group tell her that they would basically be killing a dog just to get a vegetable? Good point. Senshi then goes and cuts off the mandrake's head, stopping it from screaming, and pulls it out with ease like a G. But Marcel doesn't give up and wants to prove her theory knowledge is useful, so she sets up her trap, wakes up some bats, and one flies into it, pulling out a screaming mandrake, causing the bat to lose its shit and crash straight into Marcel. The group comes to rescue her, cheering her up, and say when the bigger monsters show up, she'll be able to stop being as useless. Senshi then makes everyone a mandrake and basilisk omelet. So they finally reach the secret path, and Chilchuk leads the way thanks to his skills in lockpicking and traps. Coming across this rigged path, they must step on the right spot or else. But Senshi is too big and keeps stepping on the wrong ones, setting off countless flamethrowers. He then asks Chilchuk where the oil for this fire is stored because he has a hankering for karage, forcing the gang to find the oil storage room, and forces Chilchuk to use his ninja skills in this mini kitchen in the middle of this death room, making sure not to die or ruin their dinner. With their bellies full, they press on, entering this atrium chamber. Marcel lights the entrance, and everyone spots their next enemy, living armor, magic knights that can kill. Aiming for the door across the hallway, they power through before any knights can move, but one steps out, and Senshi attacks it while more quickly start waking up. The group soon gets surrounded and are forced to retreat, preventing them from reaching the other door. Marcel says the only way to stop them is to find out who is controlling them nearby, but Laios thinks they were trying to protect whatever was behind that other door, like another mage. They come up with a new plan and go in again, with the group distracting the knights, while Laios sneaks on the other far side, avoiding everyone, and he manages to sneak into the next room, but spots the scary white knight ready for battle. He doesn't see anyone controlling it and runs like mad, wondering what is going on. Unable to rely on his friends, he dodges its strikes, but realizes the knight is trying to protect its shield, spotting this egg case sticking to the back, meaning there is no mage, and these creatures are somehow controlling them, meaning they can be killed and eaten. Okay, there was a much easier way to get through all these knights without lifting a finger from just not rushing in, as they always do. The group could have just peeked in through the door a little, since this was clearly an option, allowing them to see the room and any upcoming potential threats and discuss strategies on what to do or how to reach the other side. Doing this would have also allowed them to clearly see the door on the other side and the door handle and the type of lock it had, meaning they would have known how to breach it in advance and potentially how to lock it from the inside once they got through to stop the knights from falling behind. Like maybe, I don't know, sliding a door through the looped handles, or maybe make Marcel use magic to freeze the lock entirely? Laios had past experience with these knights and knew the reaction times and how they moved, so in this case, there was no excuse to act like an idiot by entering in a straightforward way. Why? It's noted that each knight is standing in front of a pillar. Heading in from the front would no doubt trigger their fight response. This is why if I was them, I would order our gang to run straight down the middle until the halfway point before splitting up into teams of two, taking both back walls while continuing to press forward. The pillars blocking the guards from us would naturally act as a temporary barrier, since the slow-moving guard would have had to literally go around it before reaching us, and this is precious extra seconds we could use to reunite with our crew and slip into the door before any of the knights ever had a chance to do anything. At the very least, they could have maybe thought through it a little more if everyone just paused for 5 minutes and took a little peek inside before charging in. Unable to overpower it, Laios knocks the knight back, stilling its head and discovering that it can't see without it. And that's when he finds some mollusk thing right in between the armor plating and realizes there's a colony of these creatures living inside the armor. Taking out the mollusk, he quickly defeats the headless knight and sees they're connected at the joints. With the room cleared, he quickly helps the rest of his team get through this door and shows everyone his discovery, excited to eat their hatched eggs. Senshi thinks this creature is low-key like a shellfish and ends up making living armor stir-fry with soup. They let Laios take the first bite in case he dies, but he loves it, doesn't die, and everyone digs in. The group then prepares to continue their journey while Laios finds a new sword, not telling anyone that the group has gained a new member, Mollusk, in the sword. Reaching the 3rd floor, hearing the faint cries of more skeletons, ghouls, and humans. Senshi asks to take a mini detour, stopping by his base camp he occasionally sleeps in. The gang discovers that he uses the golems of this floor to plant veggies in because they are naturally nutrient dense. He goes to tend to his walking garden. How cool is that? Just another average day as he tries to break a sweat collecting some veggies, defeating all the golems and disabling their magic core. The gang helps him collect his harvest, while he replants his golems to come back to life later, and they could do this all over again. He cooks up another storm, basilisk bacon, fresh veggie lunch. That sounds so good. But this one is a little less weird, and makes the gang take the remaining harvest to barter with the locals of this floor, showing up to this sketchy bar. Senshi notices his regular customers in here, just as these terrifying orcs show up and start raiding and killing everyone. This orc leader turns out to be Senshi's regular customer, but this time threatens him for the food since he can't pay for it. They recently spotted the red dragon on their floor, which has never happened before, and it has now chased his village to the higher floors. Senshi can tell they're desperate and asks if they can stay the night in their village in exchange for all the veggies they want. Laios and the other thinks he has a crazy plan, but he just tells them the orcs have grabbed flour and yeast, and this means they can make bread, annoying the shit out of everyone. Reaching the orc village, Senshi annoys them into letting him make them bread, while the leader orc's kid watches. The bread gets made, but the orc tells them they can't have any, so they trick his kid into making his daddy share his food with them. During dinner, the orc finds out that Laios' sister was taken by the red dragon at the bottom of the dungeon, and Laios begs him to give him a map of the lower floors, promising not to go near his village or tell anyone its location, and wins his trust and this map, and the group gets back on the road. Diving deeper into the dungeon, they come across some adventurers that look dead, and this treasure. Just then, Laios' sword starts freaking out, and he can now feel it warning him of an incoming danger, confusing and scaring him. And that's when the treasure starts transforming into nasty bugs. They wonder how Laios knew something was up before it happened. Well, he chops it up to luck, not revealing the truth. Marcel gets horrified because Senshi starts collecting the bugs for one thing: food! Cooking up a natural and tasty treasure, bug and snack. Blech. They dig in. She feels guilty for liking it. Laios also secretly confirms that his sword now acts as a warning system, and it thinks they're a team, hugging it and being a weirdo as usual. Suddenly the temperature drops, and they spot these shimmery blobs in the sky, confirming the presence of ghosts. They make a run for it, but Laios falls behind, being an idiot, as Marcel circles back in time to save him. More ghosts start to overwhelm them, but Senshi thinks fast and whips out some holy water in a bottle, saying since ghosts pass through anything, the jarred holy water is still effective, driving all the ghosts away, and this causes the holy water to transform into ice and then into exorcism sorbet, thanks to Senshi. It's amazing the leaps this anime does, but I'm here for it. Continuing on the journey, Laios must have some parasites or worms in his tummy cause he gets super hungry again really quick, wanting to take a food break. But Senshi thinks they should keep going till they reach the 4th floor, passing by this room full of magic painting. Laios wants to go in to steal some food real quick, forcing the gang to put up with his BS. Diving into this painting full of food, he lands in the middle of this couple welcoming their child and this sus elf. Feeling a little awkward, he quickly leaves, heading into a more casual looking painting. He jumps right in the middle of this prince's wedding day, realizing it's the baby from earlier, now all grown up. He quickly steals a bunch of food but runs into the same elf from before, getting pulled out of the painting a second time. Realizing the painting food can't leave with him, he makes a final attempt to eat inside the painting, and happens to land in the one where the prince is now getting crowned as king. He gets to work stuffing his face in, but the same elf spots him, and this time threatens him, thinking he's here to steal the crown, preparing to kill him just as he gets pulled back out. However, the food he ate in the painting didn't count in the real world, and he goes back to being just as hungry. Senshi gives him shit for wasting time and says they must now camp nearby since it's getting late. Setting up camp, Chochuk notices this chest that wasn't there before and thinks it's just a mimic, trying to ignore it, but later that night goes to look for a snack and spotting this coin insect. This time he listens to his tummy, but leads him right into an old trap. Not wanting to attract more monsters by calling out to his gang, he tries to escape himself, but quickly comes face to face with the mimic as he runs for his horrified life. While trying to escape, using his lockpicking and exploring skills, he soon manages to open the exit and barely escapes with his life, just as the others spot him, and these two get excited for the next meal, boiled mimic, and Chochuk is ashamed to say that he likes it. The next day, the gang reaches the 4th floor. Marcel uses magic on everyone to make them walk on water, but it doesn't work on Senshi because of all the cooking grease and his hair acting like a magic insulator. He says he will cross the lake on his own and calls out to this kelpie sea creature to come out from hiding, revealing he's made friends with it during his past visits. But Laios doesn't trust it and wants to eat it instead, saying all monsters down here are evil. No one believes him because this animal looks cute. Senshi hops on the horse but starts sinking. Laios figures out what's going on and rushes to quickly rescue him. The kelpie creature was using him this whole time and was building up his trust, and it tries to viciously kill him, but Laios comes through and stabs it, saving his life. After, Senshi gets sad as he cooks up the bastard for payback. Meanwhile, Laios and Chochuk spot some bodies floating in the river, go to take them out, recognizing them from earlier, and wonder how they got ahead of them. To cheer Senshi up, Marcel makes him a soap bar out of some of the kelpie. He cleans off all the oil from his beard and is finally able to float. The three mess around and run into a kraken of all things, going full Poseidon style on its ass, and after, they try to eat it but find this parasite worm in it. And Laios of course tries to eat it, oh he's so stupid, and of course instantly collapses in pain. So the gang take the night while he recovers and probably shits his brains out. With 2 more days until they reach the Red Dragon's last known location, Laios continues to rest, while Marcel takes a bath pouring the leftover boiling water into the lake nearby, causing this sinister bubble to rise up. Realizing it's an Undine creature, she quickly dodges its lethal water jet attacks, but accidentally lands on the water, using her magic to run and counter its attacks. But she quickly finds herself in the middle of the lake and injured. The gang come to her rescue, but realizes the Undine won't let her leave the lake alive. Marcel is a dumbass. If I was here, I would have fought the Undine using its greatest strength against it by using water. For a group that knows a lot about dungeons, they're still acting like amateurs. Like by splitting up, they should have stayed together at all times, even during shower time. For safety, you dirty minds, for safety. Shooting everywhere in the water hoping to get lucky was super dumb. From how the Undine was discovered pouring water, it's clear that it reacted out of anger, which means if I was Marcel, the moment it got stranded in the middle of the lake, I would have tried pissing this thing off even more. As a mage, we have limited mana energy, which means we should have saved it and used it only when it at least had a plan or no other choice. Initial simple dodges would have been my first move. I would dodge any direct attacks without too much effort, and this would have given us and our gang more time to figure out a proper plan, and having limited energy means I would have only used it to enhance our agility and speed in order to get to shore quickly. So yes, I would have just tried to sprint to the shore, but I would have started using our mana to shoot the water behind me very periodically, basically like a magic half-assed jetpack, and here's why. The attacks from the Undine are like pressurized water jets. By shooting the water at us, the force from our blast would disperse any water behind us, which would basically create a temporary water shield barrier each time we did this. Using our powers as a form of strategic defense could have protected us from getting shot, and we would have inched back closer to land. Marcel blows the rest of her energy at the Undine like an idiot, quickly tracking it from her blood. She makes a last-ditch effort, getting blown up into the sky, but Laios finally catches her as everyone rushes to safety, discovering Marcel is now more useless than Frodo from Lord of the Rings and is low on health and mana. They tell her she might as well go home because the journey's only gonna get harder. Laios suggests waiting for other adventurers to pass by to heal her, but realize they have nothing to trade. Feeding her some leftover kelpie grilled meat, they solve one of 2 of her problems: health, but still no mana. More travelers come down the steps, smelling the food they just cooked, but one of them is a member of their former party, Namari. She teamed up with this smart guy named Tansu's party. Marcel gets mad at her for leaving their group and not helping them find Laios' sister. Tansu tells them he could heal Marcel, but he ain't doing charity. Finding out there's an Undine up ahead, they think they're hot shit and go to take it on, but instantly get humbled and Namari dies, but comes back to life, so no worries. Tansu tells Laios he's hired Namari to watch over him while he does ancient sorcery research down here, but asks Laios to assist him as well. In exchange, he will heal Marcel. He instantly agrees and they go on a mini mission down this tight corridor, but Laios' sword senses danger again. He warns the group and they fire arrows into the darkness, but one of Tansu's team gets abducted by vines from up above, instantly poisoning her and no one's weapons can reach. Laios warned them if any of these vines touch them, they won't make it out alive. Thinking fast, he borrows Senshi's armor and dives right into the shit. Managing to drop their only ranged weapon, Namari quickly grabs a hold of it and delivers the final blow. Saving the day, they regroup with everyone and Tansu gets to work on healing the injured. Laios helps Senshi's injury out, soaking it in vinegar, but finds out the manual says this combo is supposed to be tasty, so the two have a taste. While Tansu finally heals Marcel. Now with this out of the way, everyone turns their attention on the Undine and how to defeat it without magic. Tansu reveals this creature is actually made up of tiny angry spirits. Once each one dies, it gets replaced with a happy spirit, and this process happens once a week, but he decides to return to the surface instead, leaving it to them, preparing a portal to leave through. Chuchuk then acts sneaky and asks if Marcel can leave with him, since she still has no mana and still is super useless. But Namari says they won't be able to defeat the Red Dragon with just them 3, so they're screwed either way. Marcel tries to convince Namari to join in her place since she has experience, but Laios just tells her that rumors spread fast in adventure circles. And if Namari suddenly switches teams, rumors will spread that she's not a reliable team player, affecting her future career. With no hope and desperate, Marcel announces she will recover her mana by catching the Undine and drink it, since it contains a lot of mana, shocking the group. She thinks outside the box and asks to use Senshi's adamantine pot, since it's strong enough to break through Dragon's bones. And Namari realizes the sweet tech she too overlooked. Marcel convinces the group to give her a shot, and they come up with a plan. Heading back to the Undine, they shield up and wait for it to attack them. Laios accidentally messes up the plan by getting injured, but Namari comes in last minute to save him, grabbing the pot shield as both sides coordinate and capture it, carefully moving the pot over this set fire. They burn it alive until it stops squirming, turning it into regular mana-filled water. together. But Senshi interrupts the party and says mana is best absorbed with food and cooks up a kelpie tentacle stew dish. And they offer the group to dine with them as well, making friends. While Marcille restores all her magic as welcome back on the team. Namari also apologizes for being a dick and ditching their team and goes back to being friends, saying she really wants to learn more by staying in Tansys' group, but wishes Lao and his team all the best, and everyone parts ways. Soon after, they reach this staircase that should take them to the 5th floor, but it's almost impenetrable, and they wonder how the orcs got through here in the first place. Suddenly a tongue shoots out at Laos' sword and Marcille's staff and flings it down this drop. Giant frogs then come out and begin attacking the unprepared group. Knowing the vines are poisonous, Chilchuk improvises by wrapping his hand in frog skin and manages to go around and trigger this plant to activate, killing the frogs and saving their butts. Still needing to go through all the plants, they come up with an idea and skin and create frog suits to wear and quickly make tentacle pasta gnocchi before heading off. Cruising through, looking all super cute, they manage to pick their weapons back up and finally reach the 5th floor, coming across the base of this golden castle. But that's when they spot burnt up corpses in the area. They're still fresh. The gang worries the dragon might not be sleeping and is actually active. This realization changes their tactics. They must now come up with a new plan on how to kill it while it's still awake. Laios says the dragon's neck is its only weak point and figure out a plan. Laios remembers Senshi's strong fireproof shield and thinks they can use it to lure the dragon to this area and they'll be able to get up close. In preparation, Senshi of course makes the cutlets to conquer the red dragon dish as their last meal, just as they hear the ground rumble and realize the final enemy has shown up. The group gets ready to set up shop. Marcille will stay on the roof until the dragon is lured underneath before blowing it up, while these three call out to the dragon, making it chase them through the tall buildings. About to launch a fire attack, the group sets up Senshi's shield, but it's too good at absorbing heat that Laios drops it, and things quickly go to shit. They miss their turn and go off plan, arriving early to Marcille as she quickly casts her spell, blowing up this bridge and landing on the dragon. However, moments later it bursts out, even more pissed off than before, catching the group off guard and now without a backup plan. Okay, this guy's well-planned strategy, well-meant, went to shit due to their carelessness, and now they don't even have a backup plan. They had no way to know if that bridge falling onto it would do anything, especially since the structure was likely made to bear mass groups of pedestrians and not heavier stuff like horses, carts, and cargo. Knowing this, I would have relied on this light bridge to do nothing except throw the dragon off momentarily, and would have instead relied on factors that we could have control over 100%. This dragon cannot fly, and its only danger is its ranged weapon fire breath. Taking this out would have been my #1 priority. To do this before the dragon showed up, I would have told Chilchuk to wait under the bridge, not telling him what he's really there for, and would have gone to lure the dragon while placing Senshi on standby on a nearby rooftop, letting him take over after a few minutes to continue distracting it, while guiding it back to Marcille. Him being on the roofs would also minimize his risk of death from being at a higher vantage point, while letting the dragon waste all of its fuel trying to reach him with its fire breath. These few extra minutes would have allowed me as Laios to circle back to Marcille's location right before the dragon reached, knocking out Chilchuk before leaving the scene, but before Senshi and the dragon would arrive. This would make Chilchuk look like he just fainted, lying helpless, and would also entice the dragon to eat him, placing him right under the bridge and right where we want him. Senshi trying to intervene at this point wouldn't matter, and during this moment, reaching its eye level from this building here, I could have jumped and attacked its eye, blinding one or two ideally, before signaling to Marcille to blow up the bridge only after we did this. And in this case, even if the dragon did not die, it would have at least been momentarily confused, partially or fully blind, without or very little fire breath left to use, allowing us much more easy time to reach its vulnerable spot, all the while making me come out looking as the good guy and making sure Chilchuk didn't die in vain, because he was a good boy, and I'll miss him. Laios tells Chilchuk to play dead, and he tries to get in a kill shot, but his sword tries to make a run for it, alerting the dragon, and the three retreats under its crotch. Great. Marcille's simple spells don't work, Senshi's axe break, and he throws Laios a strong mithril knife, but it's small as balls, and lands 0.1% damage. Great. Laios desperately tries to reach for his sword, but he gets stuck, while Chilchuk grabs Senshi's knife and luckily blinds one of the dragon's eyes. How he managed to pull off, I don't know. Laios quickly talks to Marcille and they come up with a new plan. He climbs up through this building to reach the dragon's eye level, standing on top of Senshi's pan, while Marcille sets off a charge beneath him, launching him right at the dragon's face. Struggling to hold on, he gets his foot chomped on, and he finally stabs it in the neck, severing his leg while both of them fall to the ground. Marcille rushes to everyone's aid, even healing Laios' leg, and now with everyone all chill, they rush over to inspect the body, cutting it open to look for Laios' sister. They don't find her alive, or even her body, coming across some bones. They realize she's already been digested. Laios remembers some dragon trivia and says they usually swallow their prey whole, leaving all bones still intact, and they think they can take her bones to the resurrection office. But Marcille says the link between her soul and the body right now is too fragile, and they need to fix her here and now, causing her to come up with a crazy idea. She says she will try and revive Laios' sister using a power she's never told anyone: black magic. She tells the gang that she's been practicing this for a long time, and would use the dragon meat here to create a bile body and bring it back. And with no other option, the group agrees, painfully combing through the dragon's stomach to reassemble every single bone of his sister. Marcel then gets real evil, drawing this magic circle, freaking everyone out, and soon brings Laos's sister, named Falin, back to life. The group is ecstatic to see her, and Senshi introduces himself properly by creating a whole-ass meal to celebrate. Laos's sister and Marcel get reacquainted, finding out Marcel used black magic on her, but she reassures her that as long as she erases the magic circle she made later, nothing bad will happen, maybe. However, everyone realizes that Senshi is preparing to light a match right near where the dragon's fuel organ is, and it might cause an explosion, so they rush to stop him, but everything explodes, yet no one is harmed, and everyone realizes that Laos's sister just saved them, shocking Marcel that she did it so fast without any chanting spells. Senshi goes back to cooking, making dragon tail soup and onion roast, red dragon pizza. Oh, that sounds good. They also find out about Laos's special friend, a sword monster, and he promises he won't keep secrets from them again. The gang decides to stay the night before heading back to the surface, as Falin thanks her brother for saving her. She also heals his leg completely, and everyone prepares for a good night's sleep. However, they don't realize that just outside, the elf from the painting has followed them and approaches the black magic circle with sinister intent. But what do you guys think about the video? Let us know what you like about it and what you didn't like about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to check out our How to Beat playlist.